Alright. Okay. Yeah, I know. I mostly do DMC content on my channel. I know what you're thinking. Yeah. I've heard it. I know. The questions that you ask currently are the questions that I also ask myself, so don't worry about that, okay? Just chill your tits, okay? Hold on. I wanted to do this mostly because, I always go on Netflix every once in a while, usually when I find a good film or something like that, and I always get myself in a kind of sense of, like, I'm always curious, you know. It's just some things in the back of my brain that I check and look at, and I just go, damn, that looks cool, but I don't really know, I don't really, like, I don't usually, like, test myself to go out there, kind of. I do push myself, but only to where I feel, like, sometimes comfortable. And that's mostly because I like to have other people's opinions before I, like, mark a spot on something. So, this will not be an absolute review of these, so to speak. This will be more of a, how do I put it? This is more of a recommendation type thing. And also, I don't find many other channels, there probably is a channel, I don't know, that goes through, all the Netflix shows, movies, and stuff that are all coming out, but I don't know any, that's for sure. The only one that's Netflix related is Nitpicks. That's the only one I know. That proves how much of a fucking normie I am when it comes to YouTube, I guess. Okay, so I think I'm gonna do a weekly series about this question mark. I don't know if I want to do a like a month in between or something like that. Well, at least for now, maybe a month. But I don't want to, like, do it where I'm holding it up for, like, a month, you know? Because then, when I'm not doing this, then I'm either working on another video, and if I'm not doing that, then I'm usually just playing DMC. And my fucking hand hurts. You have no idea. My fucking hand hurts. So, I was playing DMC4. Fucking hell, that game destroys your hand. Like a fucking... Like, it's Ben Shapiro, and this hand is a fucking libtard, let me tell you. I've got 3 categories here. I have 6 shows, 1 stand-up, and 4 movies here. Now, obviously, I want to do more. I want to go into a bit more classics and stuff, but I mostly did things that either stuck out to me or somewhat recommended a recommendation show, and I can't even fucking say recommended right. Anyway, so what do I have? So let's start off. TV shows. Why not? I mean, this is what Netflix is for, after all. So the first TV show we have up, this is in no real particular order, is, Turn Up Charlie. Now, I have not finished this show currently. Hold on, let me check how far I am into this. I am on episode 6 of 8, I believe. So, I'm pretty much at the finish line, and I can already tell where the show's going generally. And, I do like this show, in my personal opinion, but then again, this is not where you come for a recommendation. You want a description. The best I can give it is sort of like a lighthearted comedy, I guess. A very slice of life, so to speak. It's kind of one of those tales. If you've ever liked those, what are they? I'm not a huge weeb, but those slice of life animes, you know, that usually has like a father figure looking after just some kind of daughter figure. You're probably gonna like this. It's nothing by any sense groundbreaking. I will not tell you that this is any sort of breaking the boundaries type material in any way, but I guess I'll jump into just a quick criticism. Is that the main guy, obviously, and kind of the whole career of the wife too, that's not his wife, but the wife, mom, I don't care, character is, are both DJs, obviously, so that means the music in here is very DJ heavy, which annoys me to an extent, because, I don't mind the music being DJ, obviously, but it's just that, like, that means you're gonna put a higher emphasis on music. Sort of like if the character, like, revolves around being a cinematographer, your biggest focus in the show would probably be cinematography. So, and if it's going for very bland shots, then, you know, it could say a lot about the person that's behind the camera or behind the music in the same sense. And I didn't feel like the music stuck quite a chord with me, especially as somebody that listens to quite a bit of DJ and dance. But fuck it, I listen to everything. God damn it. So that's the only criticism, and even if you like the kind of stuff that it's doing, because it's not like bad or anything, but it's just like if you don't mind any of that, then that will not bother you in any sense of the way. So don't let that minor criticism bother you. This is just a very good TV show, kind of really enjoyable. I like the comedy, probably because it's British for me. If you like some British comedy with a bit of an American hidden under, like this has like a British surfaceness where like all of them are British, all of them have like some British comedy, but under it, it's really just like an American type show, and that's really just I don't know. I guess it's trying to hide itself in the same way DMC5 tries to hide itself as a fucking Western video game when we all know that's a Japanese and a couple of Asian people behind it. We need look no further than the fucking behind the scenes. But anyway, off of that, Turning Up Charlie, all I can say is a nice heartwarming show. There's not too much to say about it because it's just I don't know. It's one of those things in life where you just have to say it's good because there's nothing like inherently bad about it. It just does everything above average that overall makes it a very good show. I like all the characters. Oh, there is one more complaint that I have. In the first to kind of second episode, the fucking plot is all over the place, and I feel like this is the problem with the show almost in general, in a way. At least this is it's not as bad as obviously the first episode, but the plot itself gets distracted. Like, the characters are obviously very well written, the jokes are very well written, but the plot itself just diverges into certain other places. Like, the characters could be doing something, but for sake of a joke, sometimes it can get, like, over here, and it's like, nope, now we're doing this, and it's like, we were clearly going, no, all the way over here. It's just like, okay, well, okay, it's not what you were expecting. So if you're expecting yourself to kind of get thrown around a lot, get used to that. It's a kind of feeling, I guess. It's not unpredictable in the way it does it. It's more of just like, oh, we're now here, I guess. What? And it just gets like, hold on, you just like, haha, stop the train, you gotta go this way, and it's like, okay. But anyway, if you're not really here for that type of show, for like the plot, huge plot, structure. But I'll talk more about the show, I guess, when I finish it. Maybe I'll talk a bit more about it. But I want to move on to one of my favorite shows. But this show definitely gets a hard thumbs up or a gold if you truly find, I don't know, something that you really like about these kind of type of shows. I don't think it's very harmful. I think even if this is a show that like you wouldn't typically find yourself into, at least give it a shot, because this show is definitely pretty hard. Like I said, it's nothing on like a cerebral, like fucking artistic level of anything. It's just kind of executes what it's trying to do quite well. So, Turning Up Charlie's done, and now we're moving on to the next one, Love, Death, and Robots. Now, this show, I think, was actually the show that got me into doing this series. Like, I'm not gonna lie, physically, or mentally in any fucking way, because this show piqued my interest, to kind of know, how I even started this, I guess, or how I got introduced to a show. At my school, it's like at the end or whatever, and then usually they just start running Netflix or whatever, and obviously Netflix pops up with these fucking annoying recommendations of new stuff, obviously. First thing that comes up there, Love, Death, and Robots. Now, this is the thing that kind of irks me, is like, okay, you see it and then you go past it. And in fact, I didn't find it, originally I was like, I just kind of want to, check that out, see what that is. And then I was, like, not by the first episode I was blown away, but the more I watched it, the more I got fucking blown away, especially by episode 3, but that's the show that really got me into this. Even though that wasn't the first show technically on my list that I watched, that show was what really made me do this series. Even though it makes no sense content-wise on my channel. This show is awesome. This show is on another level. I don't know how else to explain it other than that. how do I even explain such a show like this? I have finished all the show. This show is fantastic. I could not like put it down. In fact, I wanted to try myself to stop, watching it a bit too much. So, how would I explain this? So, people that like Black Mirror, think of that on artistic steroids. But also, there's also some downfalls, also as well. So this is episodic like, Black Mirror. But the big difference here is that pretty much 99.9% of this stuff is animated. Completely animated. And, their technology is insane. I do not know. I have not dug up any information. I just want you to watch it. This is what annoys me about the Netflix in general, because when all these shows pop up, you just like either shrug, unless it's like a Stranger Things or something like that that's already taken off. It's like, oh, okay, it's just another show that's come out. But a show like this should be getting more attention. Maybe it's because I'm not like super interactive in terms of like Twitter and all that other stuff, and maybe this is getting the love that it needs. But my God, does it get all the love that it deserves? So, I'm just gonna go on to the minor criticisms with this. There is one episode that takes more live action that it really annoys me. Where it's live action, not because in and of itself it's live action. It's just that it's it looks very bland. Like when they're doing animation, they clearly know how their cinematography works. They clearly know the shots. They clearly know what they're doing with the technology. And even when it's a bland shot, in animation, it looks fucking great and it has some kind of style that's unique to it. Now, obviously, that live action shot just looks awful. It looks like it was shot on a TV. The stuff itself was obviously really interesting, what this show is known for, and I'll get to that. But that episode, it's awful. If you see that live action, to me, I would say skip it. But if you want to put yourself through that amount of pain and torture, you can totally go through that. It's your choice, bud. But the other criticisms is, what is it? The fucking, what is it? God damn it. Oh, yeah. The way this show starts is so weird because the first episode is like not I don't know, it's not, I wouldn't say it's terrible, but the first episode certainly isn't anything to fucking bewilder, which is why I'm kind of annoyed with that, because that nearly turned me off from the show. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, it's just another, it's another show like this or something like that, and it's just like, oh, it's a normal show. Okay, I kind of have the episodes right here. I pulled them up just for this, and it's going to completely fuck my Netflix account right in the ass, but I want to just completely talk about each kind of episode in just a short summary, in a sense. Okay, the first episode, this is kind of, like I said, it looks pretty boring, at least. It's nothing, it's fucking edgy as fuck. Also, another criticism is sometimes the dialogue. I don't know, sometimes the dialogue in this show can be like, it's like, oh, okay, now you're just really trying hard. But the first episode, it's nothing special. It's pretty decent. If on its own thing, it wouldn't be like anything super surprising. And then we have the second episode is really hilarious, honestly. This shows the kind of dark, twisted humor this show has, and it's not afraid to hold back on anything. But that's not really what drawed me to the show. The show drawed me with the episode 3, The Witness. This show is amazing. I mean, this episode is absolutely fantastic. It is actually incredible. There is very few lines of dialogue through this entire thing. It is fantastic in every way. It's shot fantastically. There's little to no dialogue. All of it's completely visual. The colors are amazing. Everything in that is awesome. Also, kind of a quick note before I move on. This show shows all kinds of nudity, drugs, and I don't actually think drugs, but and profanity. Just to let you know that might be perturbed by this. This is not a family show, to say the least. Episode 4 is kind of a meh, but after episode 4, pretty much, and even kind of as the show as a whole, they will kind of do, this sort of, they'll do this plot twist, almost not even a twist, it's more of a world twist, where they just kind of throw you for a loop, and they're like, whoa, that's a 3,000 IQ move, and episode 4 and onwards kind of shows that, theme. Anyway, but, 4 is not a lot to say about. The next episode is a very, it's fine. It's pretty decent. Oh my god, some of these are straight up comedies, which is the next one after that. I'm completely lost track of where I was going with this. So what I'm gonna say is just a shorthand because I'm not gonna go through every single one of them. The live action one skip, it's awful. Episode 3 is actually amazing. Actually hang every frame of that on a museum. That was genius. Animation's always spectacular. There is not a single moment where I doubted it. Not a single hair. In fact, it was so real to the point where I was like, I actually like started messing around with my brain physically on that level, especially the one with the werewolves. Once you see it, like, it's like, sometimes it's like, wait a second, is that real? Or did they, no, did they make that? I don't know. And it fucking really, works you mentally. There's some more comedy styled ones that are just extremely funny. They don't fall flat at all. They all have a little sense of style also, and they go with a really nice, cool idea. I guess, and that's always something really neat about this show, is something like, if you've ever thought to yourself, like, certain things, like if you were to get lost in space, like, how it's like spaceman, right? And it's you drifting out into the ocean, or it's like, you leave, whatever, and, like, people can't pull you back, then what happens, man? How would you get back? If you've ever had that idea and other stupid, weird ideas that everyone has, this show actually explains it for some reason. I don't know why, but it does. So very, very strange, but this is what this show either can be done in a very, very humorous way, or in a very deep way, actually. There's not much I can say about the show. The only thing that I think people won't like about it is, I guess, the way it tests you, I guess, and maybe some people that want a broader overall storytelling, or I guess want longer episodes. I wouldn't mind some longer episodes, actually. I don't feel like anything was particularly wasted. I think this is all just fantastic television, or streaming television, I don't know. Watch Love, Death, and Robots. It has some deep meanings while also being extremely funny. I would say this is more for either the deep artistic people like myself, or probably like a fellow intellectual, or just fun buddies that you can go through kind of the more fun ones and watch with. They're fantastic. This is not a family thing, but it's certainly any other demographic I think could work. This is a fantastic show. I don't even know what criticisms you can really throw at it, other than some of the ones that I mentioned. But anyway, moving on to a more formulaic show. Okay, so the next show I only watched one episode of, and I could easily get it under like the first episode. It's immediately predictable. So it's a show called Queer Eye. I know that's kind of weird. I guess, yeah, it's about as stupid as it sounds. So I was gonna watch the show in a way to kind of, like, I don't know. It looked awful, and it's not terrible, but it's not good either. It's incredibly formulaic, this show. It's so predictable in every way. The reason why I, like, stopped at the first episode is, like, all the ones after seem to be exactly the first, like, oh, okay, this one person, and then we get some queer people in here, and then they fix up her life. Like, the only thing that's creative about this show is that there's queer guys, and that's it. I don't even know, like, on any level that this is creative. This has clearly been done before, you flip lives, and all it is with queer people. There's nothing interesting. Also, I don't know how the show is as it is further, but in the first episode, for some reason, since gay people, I guess, I don't know, are just all fucking liberals. I don't know. There's, like, this random part where they just, like, start having a gun debate, I guess, because one of the first ladies from the South or whatever. And it's just really out of place. I don't know why that's in there, but I guess maybe it's for some kind of political motivation, which kind of has me worried for recommending this show to other people, is because, like, even if you like that, there's just, like, some weird things in here that are just like, okay, this is fucking weird. Like the weird transfer scenes where they're all, like, pushing each other over and, like, haha, look how fun they are, and it's just like, no, that's fucking gay and stupid. If you came here as came to watch this show for any sexy manning in any sort of way, man on man stuff, you get absolutely none of that. I was a little bit disappointed by that as well. This show is incredibly formulaic. I don't even know why it's on Netflix. It looks like this is Netflix trying to trying to interfere with cable television for some reason, because this is absolutely stupid. I don't know how the fucking hell this show has gotten 3 seasons, but for the people that watch it, good for you. Enjoy it, I guess, if you really like that type of thing. I don't see it as too harmful, but I don't see it as anything fantastic either. This show, I'm recommending it to more people that like, the stuff on cable television, but then again, that's not what you watch Netflix for, really. This doesn't get a ridiculous amount of, like, praise or anything, so I'm not going to get super overworked about something like this. So I'm just going to move on to a very interesting show, actually. When Netflix buys an original to something, or buys rights to something, they'll also put it, on their site, and then also, dump the extra, original, because they now own the rights to it, so they want you to show the original before they bring in the new stuff, most of the time at least. And another example of this kind of show is Mystery Science Theater 3000. I watched the classic version. I will not be doing, I haven't finished the whole thing. I think like I watched a few episodes. They're really long. How do I describe this show? It's not even like a TV show, which I think is really cool, as much as I give it credit for. This show is, I would recommend it to people that watch lots of YouTube, like, people that kind of react to TV movies, or movies and stuff, and then they make jokes as the show goes on. I would really describe this as a video, as a YouTube video series. It's nothing like an actual television show, not really. Even the budget kind of looks like a YouTube, and there's nothing wrong with that anyway. I don't see it as anything like that. They're obviously just people sitting around in theaters. They have these quirky little things that they start off with, like these little skits, and they're actually some of them are pretty good. If you don't like kind of weird, cheap kind of humor, and even underacted humor or overacting humor, then you might not like it. But to a person that respects it, I don't know, I find it kind of pretty good, and some of the jokes in there are actually pretty clever, I've got to say the least. For especially the people that are gonna watch it, I wouldn't say watch it like I said, like a normal TV show, let alone a Netflix TV show. But the way I would watch it is how I display it on screen, which is I usually have a Twitch stream up as I watch this, because it's something where, like I said, it's a YouTube video. In all honesty, it's something kind of fun that you can watch. It's a mini thing you can blow through. I really enjoy it for what it is, and personally, it's pretty good. So if you really like that, check it out. If you want to watch more TV stuff, you can just skip over it. That's okay. So moving on to another type comedy TV show, which is Toast of London. This show I've been watching for kind of a while, actually, a very long time to say the least. But I haven't finished it, so I included it on this list. I kind of watch it in kind of increments. I've never really got myself to really finish it, but I guess there's good motivation now to go through with it. This show is sort of the Lemmy Show, but less episodic, and if you don't know what the Lemmy Show is, it's a very episodic Scottish man saying things that are very strange and doing things that are very bizarre, sometimes for the sake of bizarre humor, or sometimes for the sake of awkwardness humor. And that's kind of how he would describe Toast of London. It's a not as good version of the Lemmy Show, but goddamn do I love the Lemmy Show. So this also fits under another British comedy. Sorry, I'm just kind of a sucker for that. This is I don't know how to describe it. It can be very wacky at times, but sometimes, kind of under the edge, and I like its running jokes. It's like, can you hear me, Clan Fandango? Yes, I can hear you, Clan Fandango. There's a lot of memorable things in this show, to say the least, and I think that this should obviously get more attention, really, or at least I haven't seen it get any attention. It should definitely get more, that's for sure, because this is a very well-made show. to say the least. It's very well acted, very well performed, and overall there's like weird singing bits in between sometimes that you'll find, and it's goddamn great. So I would recommend this to kind of the people that also, like I said, like the Lemmy Show. And if you do like this show, then please check out the Lemmy Show in some way, because goddamn is that also fantastic. I know I don't want to try and usually compare, one thing to another, but that show is so unbelievably connected to the Lemmy Show that it's almost kind of crazy. So I think that's actually kind of the best way to describe it. So, moving on. Okay, the next show I have up on my list is The Umbrella Academy. So this show is obviously one of those more popular shows, I guess. It's probably getting some attention somewhere. I bet some fucking Twitter users going off on it. I guarantee it. Even though I don't have Twitter, I already know. I know I've got the intellect of an angel. But you see, a lot of these shows that I've pointed out so far, I would say, even Queer Eye aren't like terrible, but this show is certainly like bad. It's bad. It's just I can't. There's so many stupid things. Like I can't even wrap my mind around kind of this show because it's so. Just for context, this is a Dark Horse comic book, or based off of a Dark Horse comic book. I saw that in the little title, and then I was like, what? Huh? Wait a second. And my mind, shot up to very different weird probabilities, because I saw, the first intro bit of the show, and then it was like, okay, this is going to be this kind of show. Then I saw Dark Horse pop under it, and I'm just like, what? Wait, hold on. You gotta be kidding me. Dark Horse is very much of a comic book brand that is known for the very edgy type of stuff. Obviously, this is between, Marvel and DC, where the two are very, kid-friendly. I guess Dark Horse was trying to prove that you could be very successful with a very edgy kind of brand. And Umbrella Academy is somehow all that and none of that at the same time. It is completely confused in terms of tone and what it's trying to go for. It's one of these shows, especially that's like a really, really, really bad Netflix. It's fucking Iron Fist level. Yeah, I know. I hate to bring that up, but it really is. I've only gotten to the 3rd episode, and my god, can I already see the plot coming. But the thing is that I don't know if I'm right or not, because the show is so slow. I swear, I have to wait over and over again for these little stupid snippets of something else that means absolutely nothing to me. The flashbacks, yes, we have more of them in a Netflix show. God, don't you love flashbacks in a show? Don't you love it when we have to flashback forward and backwards and all over the place, just to get on another level? Don't you love it? Because I know I love it. I love it when my time is being wasted on a show like this. I cannot begin to describe. I'm probably not even going to finish this show, but a part of me wants to. That way, like, somebody says that it's good, and then I want to destroy them with a lightning bolt. This show is unbelievably, okay, let me get into more of the reasons why. I've already started off with the reason that it's tonally inconsistent, because it is very much confused in what it is. Dark Horse kind of set itself aside, kind of as a comic book brand, and this is only by my knowledge. I'm probably not 100% right about all this, so please keep that in mind. Is that they were in a very different age where Marvel and DC were kind of doing their own thing, and then fucking hell, my computer fell asleep. Were doing their own thing, and they were the ones to stand out. And I kind of expected this, not from the TV show itself, but at least, kind of a way to make it stand out from Marvel and DC. But the thing that's really the problem here is that it's mimicking all those things. Like, it feels like such a disservice to the brand. I mean, there's, like I said, the Dark Horse comics, I don't know much about them, but this is mostly what I just know by just popular opinion and what goes around it. And let alone if that's popular opinion, then that means even if they are doing those things, that's also a hard repetition to kind of win. But the thing is that you're not doing anything special with this show. We've already got shows like Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Luke Cage, all things that do this 100 times better, and especially Daredevil and Jessica Jones, at least, season 1 and Daredevil in general, I'll do this at a fucking 200 level IQ level, because they take the edgy stuff, they still make a good story out of this, but they don't conflict. There is humor in Jessica Jones, there is humor in Daredevil, but the thing is that these things conflict in the show. I've never seen it so much. The show wants to be so edgy and hardcore and different from the other superhero shows, yet at the same time it's falling into the exact same tropes. This is absurd. I've never seen this before, and it doesn't frustrate me more than any other, because it's so stupid. It's got so much more money than shows I clearly like more, or movies that I clearly like more. It's on another level. It's on another level. The show brings me so much agony, mostly because the point is that there's some potential in this. There's, like, unlike Queer Eye, there is potential in this. There is actually potential in this. And when I say it's bad, I feel like it's failed in every level of what it tries to be. At least Queer Eye at least accomplishes what it's doing, clearly. But my god, this show feels like filler. The TV show, there's filler every 3 seconds. There's also other things that happen that are really annoying. What is it, around like the 3rd episode where they actually introduce like the Asian kid? I don't know, but it's really annoying how they have to slowly pace this out and slowly do the filler, and it fucking feels so annoying, because you have the other shows that I've mentioned on my list that don't feel like filler. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. The Marvel Netflix shows definitely have filler. I'm not gonna lie. Jessica Jones season 1. I love Jessica Jones season 1. But yes, it does have filler. But the thing is that when it actually gets to the actual plot and gets to the stuff, then it's actually pretty good. Because the stuff that's in there are the reason why I'm invested. But Umbrella Academy has absolutely none of that. Nowhere and no point do they have any sense of story potential, even. I can't even put it on another level. All the people feel like they can play it. There's no real personality. Ellen Page, I hate her. She's an alien. I don't think she's actually a human being, but I'm getting into conspiracy theory territory, but I'm pretty sure that's not a conspiracy theory. I'm pretty sure that's fact. But the Umbrella Academy I would watch if you're really bored and you really want to waste your time and there's absolutely nothing else on the planet to do, or if you want to see a show kind of fall or make a video about it. I don't know. I don't see anybody really liking it unless you enjoyed Iron Fist, I guess, but other than that, it's literally has no point. I don't care. I don't care to watch it. I don't care to talk about it. This show, I've watched the first 3 episodes. I'm not going to go any further than this. I was going to push myself a little bit further, but honestly, I can't get through. There's so many other shows on Netflix that could easily beat this. And it's such a shame because they waste time with like CGI and all this other money, and it's like, okay, you could have put this to a better use. And the thing is that we know good shows like Jessica Jones and Daredevil could do this, and I think this is Netflix trying to do that again. But the thing is that this is a very different type of show. But before I go, just to mention how bad the tonal issues are in the I think the first episode or something like that, there is a death that happens. They're all really sad, but all of a sudden they hear this sense of music and they all start dancing like it's funny Yahoo time. It's not like, oh, they're suddenly getting better because, they all believe. No, they just start dancing out of nowhere. And the thing is that some of these people are so edgy that it makes no sense for their character, like, at all. It doesn't. Everything just conflicts on every level, and it's so painful to talk about it, and it's so painful to watch. I'm not going any further with that, unless there's legitimate people out there that think this is a good show. Then I'll go out and write my notes and shit and prove every single one of them wrong. But anyway, moving up to stand-up, I did watch one stand-up. I chose, there's, I've watched stand-up, obviously, in some of these Netflix shows. This seems to be a very popular, thing. I'm not gonna talk about some of them, but, just to name a few, I've watched, Dave Chappelle. He's obviously pretty good. I think sometimes he can be a little bit too woke, but he's still, like, it's not an actual propaganda, so I don't care. I also have, what's his face? The really, he looks like he has a baby face. the Aaron Pearson or whatever, his, I don't know, he's some British comedian. He has a really funny voice, and he sounds sweet and adorable, and I want to give him a hug after punching him in the face. But he's hilarious, honestly. British comedian. And then we have what I chose, which for stand up is Amy Schumer growing. So the thing is that usually with a film, actually, I'll get through all the way to the end. But television and stand-up, I've made the rule to where that's a no-go. 10 minutes in, that's how far I got. 10 minutes was as far as I can make it. It hurts. I don't. The thing is that Amy Schumer's obviously growing. Not just on the sake of the title, but hopefully as a person. But that's also one of the things that got her into the position she's in right now, is because of that kind of edgy, oh, I'm single, lol, I'm a slut, lol, 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 please laugh, comedy. But the thing is that Amy Schumer is obviously pregnant in this can I call it stand up or comedy? Does it count if it's not funny? I'm just in a way that I can kind of express this without pulling this in any sort of way. Like I said, if you're an Amy Schumer fan, then you'll love it. If you're not, then literally no one. This is not a game changer in any way. In fact, even if you are an Amy Schumer fan, I would say this is less likely of her material because it's less copied. So there's a saying that kind of, or in a sense, a rule about comedy. Obviously, if it bends, it's funny. If it breaks, it's not. And that's kind of how I define Amy Schumer's kind of comedy. It could bend, but she takes just too far. She just goes a little bit further. There's some edgy comedians that I really love, and then they take it, not too far in the sense of they went too far with their edgy joke, but they take it too far because they don't let the imagination run with it. They don't let the comedy flow or stick in the air. If you break it, you take away what was funny. And I'm not any sense of a comedian or a comedic breakdown, but that's how I see it, and that's the best way I can describe it. Moving on to movies. So this next movie I have is a movie that was not recommended to me, but a movie that I saw in the little recommendation feed, like we all do. Pretty much is how I got most of these. It's called Triple Frontier. How would I even describe this? I just watched it, so it's fresh off of my mind. And boy, oh boy, let me tell you, it's very divisive for me. Not because it's in any way a great film, or it's between being a great film and a bad film or something like that. It's just I just need to find out why it's why could it be done better, and if it was is it the material itself, is this film is broken down into 4 pieces essentially. And these 4 pieces cannot be consistent. Oh, that's why. Exactly. It tries to be so many things at the same time. So let's start off. We've got 4 sections. So the first section of the film is the exposition. Obviously, this is a part of any film. It shouldn't be 1/4 of the film, which is what really, really annoys me. And let me just say, this film is 2 hours and 30 minutes long. It's just fucking ridiculous to begin with. This film should not be that long. The second half is what was it? What was it? Oh, it's the more NCIS type stuff where you're oh, they're going in to do Ocean's 11 type stuff. The third in it is kind of I don't want to spoil. Well, fuck it, I will. I'll spoil a little bit. They kind of not fail. They succeed in a way, but they don't not everything works out because we've still got a film for some reason. They struggle a little bit. They don't struggle internally, but they struggle in a sense of oh no, the plot takes them to this place here, and they're now making a completely different film. And then we have the fourth half of the movie, which is there's obviously a big shocker that happens. Somebody dies, and I do like that risk, but I don't like it that it's 3/4 of the way through the film, but you know, thank you. We have the internal conflict and, of course, the ending to the film. Now, it tries to be so many things at once. It's actually confusing. This film is in no way consistent with itself. Almost like the second half of the film feels completely disconnected from what is the other half of the film. This film wants to be four different movies. It wants to be exposition the movie, because that takes way too long, and setting up things. I've already said that, but then we have the second part of the film, which I actually don't mind a ton, but it's like, okay, you know, they're doing their things, they're doing their little heist, and I guess that's cool. You know, they're all cool buddies and whatever, and they're doing the things. Then we have the third part of the film, which is actually kind of really boring, honestly, because in fact I would say this is actually has less purpose than the than the first for first quarter of the film, is because it doesn't do anything really. And obviously the thing that breaks it apart is, of course, in between is the big shocker that where they actually start having internal conflict. So there's a theme in this film, which is kind of another thing that brings me to struggle with it, is that there's this theme of like, oh, they're military men, you know, maybe they're not doing the right thing and whatever. It's only like through the third, fourth, like I said, through like the third, or the rest of the fourth of the movie. Yeah, fourth. Yeah, I'm going with that. Shut up, okay? Feeling that conflict, actually. And yeah, they did feel a bit of that conflict in the beginning when they did do something real naughty. I'm not going to spoil it, but they did something real naughty, and it was not good, obviously. And this fucking hell, how do I describe it? It's there is that kind of undertone, but it only feels like that at the end of the film does it actually start to come together with that, or try, at least. It's like trying, it's like where they've where if somebody was carrying their books down into a classroom, they completely dropped all of it, they got it all out of order, and then they proceed to try and pick it back up right near the end, at the end of trying to go to class. And that's kind of how I describe this film. This film probably could be a very well made film, except there's some other minor issues, obviously. When I mean minor, I mean music and cinematography are awful in this film. There is like a part in this first film where they build it up that music is kind of a bigger part, with kind of the noise and the do 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 or something like that, with the guitars and all that. But then he pauses it, okay, and then he presses play, and then you're like, okay, so that means the music has some kind of part. So they land the helicopter, right? The music just disappears into background noise. Like, not even the music itself that was a part of the radio thing that he paused it for. It just slowly disappears and then goes into this noise, you know, of just like ambient noises and stuff like that. You know, film, you know, that. And it's completely different, because it also shows up at the end of the film, which is so, like, strange. I don't understand that. Also, cinematography is awful. Like, if you literally, like, turn the camera sometimes, I feel like they have a really good shot, or linger on. But kind of a recap. This film could be very good, I guess, if they were to stick to a certain thing. Obviously not exposition the film, that wouldn't be very good, but at least start somewhere. And any of the other 3/4 of the pieces, that would be fantastic, please. Either you want to do a whole heist movie, which would be really cool. I think that would be really neat, and that could really work with the material that you have. Or you do it, oh, they're in the wilds. I guess I kind of spoiled, but who cares? Kind of in the wilds thing where they have to slowly find their way home. Or, you know, in the fourth of the ending, near the end of the movie, where they start to, you know, obviously bicker and banter a lot and question themselves and stuff like that. We have each, you know, could be really great films, but they don't, like, tear into each other, like, in a good way. They all feel like very woven together and forced into each other. But that's all I'm going to talk about for this film. This film's very, I would recommend it to some people through this way, but I don't know what they would want to see. Army people, I guess, but, you know, they even start to do less army things at the end, I guess. I don't know. I'm very conflicted about this film, but just to let you know, this is Ben Affleck in this, so just to kind of let you know the quality, because Ben Affleck has a very good track record. There we go. I just moved my light a little bit closer to me because I felt, you know, more light, you know, and I looked a little bit too like in the dark or whatever. I just found like a whole ton of ants under that. I will take care of that afterwards, just to show you how determined I am to do this series. Goddamn. Anyway, I'm moving on to kind of a next film. I know I watched this a while ago, and along with the next film, but I wanted to talk about The Ball of Buster Scruggs. Obviously, this was at the Oscars. It only got a nominee, which really fucking sucks. It gets to A Star is Born, but you know, Taylor Swift and whatever. I may make a video on that in years into the future, but The Ball of Buster Scruggs was a very well-made film in any sense of the way. The Coen brothers did a fantastic job. I love every second of this dark comedy. It's so perverted and so messed up, and I love every second of it. There are so many things that are just completely dark and just disgusting, and it's hilarious. I don't know why, because this is my type of humor. Obviously, you've obviously seen the meme, probably, if you have. The first time, you know, that is one of the best lines. You don't know why, of course, unless you watch the film, why that's one of the best lines. But there's one part I have to say is like with this romantic relationship, kind of back and forth between the cowboy. It's all that story. That was a bit of a drag, honestly. It started to lose a bit of my attention, but at the end of it, my God, did it pay off. All this is kind of a dark thing. All this relates to death in a certain way. I know this is kind of a weird way to saying it, even though it's like a comedy, but it all connects in terms of death, and it gets more serious kind of as it goes, while also kind of expanding upon the subject material. It's very good. It doesn't feel like they did anything cheap by anything with a Western. They took the Western, I would say, is actually kind of a backdrop to what makes some of these stories work. And I feel like if you were to update and change some of these things, these could be put into modern day. I don't think this is anything special with the cowboy. I mean, yeah, maybe the second and the third-ish story, the one with the what's his face from fucking Pirates of the Caribbean. Those guys only because that's kind of a bit around the Western, but even that's not even really closely connected. Anyway, if you want to watch dark comedy with friends, this is good. If you don't want to watch something real serious, well, this has some serious undertones. I think this is for pretty much everyone. I don't know anyone that would directly oppose this type of stuff unless they just hate westerns to the absolute life of them. But even then, I don't see that as anything. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna talk about this one, Roma. Obviously a film that I kind of want to get off my chest for a while. It's a very well made film. I forget who it was made by. Who did fucking? It's a good movie. It's a damn good movie. Anybody I wouldn't say anybody to watch, because this is kind of one of those more like the Coen Brothers. Obviously, you know, when you have a movie like The Ball of Buster Scruggs, anybody can appreciate, love, and watch. But you know, Roma's kind of got that skill cap, so to speak. You know, it's in black and white. It's literally in a different language. The whole film. It's got very long takes and stuff like that. So, I would say this is for very much people that enjoy those kind of artistic films, that those very, I know I'm just changing scenery, don't mind me, that don't mind those kind of very long takey films that are very, you know, open to talk about the material. I guess not open to talk about material in a sense, but that use the stuff that they have very wisely. This film clearly shows. I fucking don't know why it didn't get a Best Picture. It has some of the best cinematography you'll ever see on the face of the earth. This is incredible. This is a fantastic work of art. It definitely beats all the movies on my list. Even The Dirt, which is kind of sad. I'll get to that one after. But it's a very well-made film. Absolutely fantastic. The story is fantastic. Everything works out. Like I said, if you're not like up for that artistic bullshit, or I guess you're gonna find this film very boring. I heard it from somebody that they said, "Oh, I slept through it," and it was like fucking. It'll make you want to skin yourself if you've really, you know, appreciate a film like this, because, you know, some normies don't get it. But I mean, art is inherently subjective, and if everyone were to love it, then I think you would be doing something wrong. So I think this is a focus. Hold on. I brought it back anyway. Very well made film. Like I said, if you want to watch some artistic bullshit, I guess sit around and watch it. If you're not kind of into that stuff, where you kind of a bit scared, it's not super artistic, but it's definitely really out there. So I would definitely watch the film. Also, a nice little detail that I appreciate. I'm kind of into martial arts, and there's a whole thing about martial arts in the whole thing, and every second of it, I was like, yes, this is correct. And there's definitely that amount of detail that is just so minor details that can be appreciated in that film. Goddamn. If you haven't checked out Roma, please do. And like I said, if you're not up to it, that's okay. It'll be there for another day, or maybe when you want to truly try something out. Something a little bit different. And if you don't like it, that's okay. But somebody will explain why you should like it. Because if you don't, I don't know what's wrong with you. Sorry. Family friendly show. Last movie. I know you've suffered for this. I'm suffered from this, but come on. Last movie. The Dirt. The Dirt is obviously a very well-made film. Just to say up front, this can be kind of for everyone, I guess. I don't see anybody that couldn't really like a film like The Dirt in the same way Buster Scruggs could have liked. One criticism that I have with The Dirt, which really pisses me off actually, is the opening, the intro. In the same way I could say for Love, Death, and Robots, it kind of nearly turned me off for this movie. The weird slow-mo and speed up, I guess, in the first like 10 minutes, I think, are very weird, and like the way it introduces is like, this is him, and maybe on second viewing that gets a bit better, but honestly that's really stupid and annoying, and it just makes the film look bad, especially compared to the later parts of the film, and it really annoys me because this is such this film, and has so much talent and everything. It's just made damn well, in terms of just like some of the cinematography is actually pretty good. It's not out there amazing, but I think this is kind of a biopic. Did I mention it's a biopic? It's a band biopic. This is also not one of those films that fall into the Bohemian Rhapsody kind of trope where is it? Yeah, it's where it falls into that singer trap, where like, oh no, the singer went off and did his own thing, and he felt like a rock star, and then he came back and truly found what's important, the band. This movie is not like that at all. It does not pussyfoot any of that. It is completely like, it shows you straight up, this is drugs, this is like the worst kind of addiction you'll have. They went crazy. There are some things that are actually really real about this movie. It even shows afterwards, and it even has the balls to show some of the interviews afterwards. How accurate they got everything is fucking insane. This is a band called the Marley Crew, the Merley Crew. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm certainly listening to their music after this because it certainly made an impact on me. This movie's, I don't even know what criticisms you can really handle at it, except for the kind of the opening, and the film honestly gets better. Not really a criticism, but something I think that is actually in its favor is how fast it moves between certain people as it goes. Like, unlike the intro where it's going through it like so insanely fast, it's kind of crazy. In this film, it's so incredibly well paced, you won't even know that you just went between like 3 different characters at the same time. It's fucking hilarious. Not hilarious, but it's just like fucking, like, what I don't know. I say hilarious because it put a smile on my face when I didn't notice that they went through like 4 different characters or something like that all at the same time in less than like 10 minutes, and it was paced so beautifully. This film is paced like a goddamn champ, let me tell you. This film has an amazing pacing. I wouldn't even say you could cut anything down other than the intro. And I could say some of these films, maybe cut down, mostly just talking about the triple front runner. But this film almost has like no like chipping, I would feel, or cut anything down. I think pretty much any scene is has some kind of point, and it sets its message across perfectly. This is such a deep, intimate story, especially if you've been in this kind of scenario before. I haven't personally, but if you've been through somebody, or at least know somebody that's been through some kind of drug abuse or something where fame has kind of gotten to them, on not really on an egotistical, but on just another level. This film explores that so beautifully, and with such a light-hearted tone as well. This film is mostly like really upbeat in terms of like what it accomplishes. It's like, yeah, humans and stuff, you know, and it's kind of a really hopeful film. You go into something like as dark as a subject as they cover throughout this whole thing, and you think, oh god, this is horrible, but you come out and you're like, you feel proud that you watched something like this, I guess, to watch other people's pain. And that's, I know that sounds very strange, but that's very, very good for a film like this. This is incredibly well made. This is fucking excellent in any sense of the way. I would recommend this to basically anyone. I guess maybe some artistic freaks, maybe. If you're on like, such a high level and I don't want to touch it, those people, I guess, you may not like it. I don't know, because it's not super upfront in terms of how it handles its cinematography and stuff like that. And the music's all really, really good. How it uses it, I wish they use it a little bit more, but obviously this is around the not grunge metal, but fucking heavy metal, I think, where it kind of became popular with the AC/DC and the fucking, I don't know, I'm a Gen Zer, I don't know any of this shit. I find it really interesting that they kind of went along with that and they have such an interesting story, while other, bands like Queen are just, pretty generic, while this one is insanely deep in terms of how it handles its material. And there's something just good to learn from this film also. Not only in the filmmaking sense, but also in its messaging. Okay, I'm done. Where am I gonna do for a funny? I don't really have a funny. Oh god, fuck me. I didn't really plan this at all. Oh god. I may do another one of these. I just want to kind of encourage myself to go out and do all this stuff. I really don't push myself enough when it comes to I really like to pretend like I have artistic balls, I guess, in a sense of like, the DMC4 story is ass because of blah blah blah. But sometimes I don't push myself to see more of that stuff. More of the stuff that I want to see, and I feel like this is overall damaging my criticism and how I perceive media in general. So this show is maybe for you, but it's also for me mostly, I guess, and that's how I do most of my long-running series. This may be a weekly series, this may be a monthly series, I don't know, this could be a fucking daily series if I run out of ideas, but the stuff that I mentioned, if you want to, go check it out. This is all obviously on Netflix, at least it should be. Great stuff. Now, the next one, if I'm gonna do it, there's a ton of stuff that I plan. Some of these I haven't finished, obviously, and I might go through and finish some of them. I'm gonna try to keep it as new as possible for each one, obviously. Russian Doll, I guess, that's the thing that really annoys me. It's on the recommendation screen, and I'm like, get out. Yeah, there's that. I didn't really plan for this. Like I said, I wrote a whole script. Speaking of which, I'm probably not going to mention in this video because I'm going to mention it here. I've gone through some massive stuff, let me tell you. I've written so many scripts about DMC5, it is insane. So please keep a keen eye for that. So you know that 5 things, to do video? Yeah. How about like 10 more of those? Yeah, don't worry, I'm not out of ideas. Don't worry about it. But I have some stuff planned. Please stay tuned. If this, you want my DMC content, okay, shut up, okay? This is only like a weekly-ish series. I don't know. Okay, stop bullying me. Stop it. Enjoy yourself and have fun binging.